Hi everyone, my name is Piterpakulski. Today we'll continue building financial model. It is a rent calculator. We're looking at this model. In this model, how rent payments affect simple discounted payback period, how they affect cash flow statement, and on the top of this model, so we start with specifying how many square meters or square feet in our location, what is the price per square foot or per square meter, what is the deposit, what is the grace period for rent payments. Then we specify when we start getting the first revenues, year, month. Then we enter how many months we have inside the investment stage. So blue cells are our inputs. All other cells are automized. So here we specify the investment plan. Then we specify the types of customers. We can switch them on and off. We can specify average check, the level of direct expenses. Inside the average check, we can specify also the duration of the life cycle for this or that type of customer. Then we specify how many new customers joining our project from the beginning of operating activity. Then we look at customer behavior, describing how many purchases per month each type of customer makes. So for example, customer number 2 makes 3 purchases per month during his 8-month life cycle. So then we specify different types of advertising expenses. The first is advertising campaign not linked to
the amount of newcomers, so it is just the advertising expenses that you are planning to invest anyway into your business idea. And another group of advertising and marketing expenses are closely connected with the amount of new customers that you are going. So this is the we are talking here at customer acquisition story. So here we mentioned the sources from which new customers come. Then we specify from the moment when we start operating activity, we specify what is the percentage of allocation of new customers between different sources. So this allocation of percentage may change during the timeline of our project. Then we specify the cost of acquisition of one customer from one source. This is also a dynamic parameter because during the lifestyle of our business idea, the cost of acquisition of customer from different sources also may differ. Then we specify direct payroll expenses, the names of positions, the salaries, how many customers do we have per one person on this position. Then we describe stable payroll, which doesn't increase or decrease depending on the amount of customers that we have. So here we can specify the names of positions, salaries, the salary per one person on this position, how many people on one position occurs. And today we will be talking about another type of direct expenses. They are not marketing or advertising, but they are linked to the amount of customers at any given moment of our project in our timeline. So I will create a new block of inputs. Direct expenses per one customer.
customer. So here I will place direct expense item. So direct expense, we will create let's say 15 articles, 15 expense articles. So this is the new block of inputs. So here we specify dollar per customer per month. What is the payment? So here we specify how many dollars per month per one customer do we pay to this direct expense. These are the inputs, so we color them with blue. Blue is a specific color, unique color for all our inputs, so we could travel throughout the model and create searching for these blue cells and creating scenarios, stress tests to see how stable our business idea is. So these are the inputs. So our next step is we are copying the timeline. We are copying the timeline. Then we place the list of direct expenses per one customer. Then what we do, so we have here, if we go up, we will be able to see the amount of customers at any given moment that we've already created. All customers at any given moment. So we're taking this line, freezing this line in formula, then and multiply it on the amount of expense per one customer per month. Here we specify we freeze the column. Then I'm going to extrapolate this formula to the bottom, and to the right. So now we can see how this type of direct expenses starts from September 2022, starts increasing because the amount of customer increasing. So what we also need to do, so we also need we need to be able to switch on and off different types of expenses to see how our cash flow statement will look if we exclude some types of expenses from calculations, how this will affect simple, discounted payback period, internal rate of return, and so on. So we will create here on off column. We will use here a data validation. We will pick here a list, and we will pick the data from here on the top. So because these are the inputs, I'm gonna color it also with blue. Then I'm gonna write the formula to explain to Microsoft Excel that if this one equals to this, then it is 1, otherwise 0. So then we will be adding these expense to our calculations. And what we are doing now, we are adding this coefficient to our expense line. For example, if we want to exclude these expenses from calculations, we can just switch them off. Then we can go to the timeline and see how these expenses will disappear. So these expenses will go to the cash flow statement. That's why we're coloring them with red. So this is a very fast move to create different scenarios very quickly. This will allow you to look at your business idea in details. So the next story, we can add a coefficient, local coefficient, because for example we don't need to completely switch off this expense. We may want just to increase or decrease to some extent its value. So the basic value of this coefficient is 100%, so this is just a 1. So this is also an input, and we are also adding this coefficient here. So what gives us this story? So for example, we just want to see, so we can look at, let's start our operating activity a little bit closer. For example, in March, the duration of the investment stage will be 2 months. So if we do that, we can see how Microsoft Excel, our system, shows us that we are allocating the investment plan the wrong way. So we just put here zeros, and then Microsoft Excel tells us that everything is alright because we've created a system that helps us to work with inputs. Then we go back. So here we can see our direct expenses starting from March 2022, and for example we can just take 50% of these expenses. Look here, or we can triple them, or we can take double these expenses, or we can just take 3% of these expenses, and so on. So we can, or for example we can switch off completely these expenses. So we can easily play with data without playing with inputs themselves. So this allows us to create a huge amount of scenarios to see to get acquainted with your business idea. So also we can create a global local global coefficient. So so we also add this coefficient to this formula. We will completely freeze column and line. So for example, if we don't want to completely switch off all the expenses, we can just take 80% of current values, or we can double the expenses or triple. So we can quickly create scenarios. This is very efficient when you consider whether to put your step into this project or not. So this was the video about direct expenses. I hope you enjoyed. If you find this video valuable, you may give us a like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. You can also order financial models from scratch for your unique business ideas. We can help you with that. So see you guys in next videos. Thank you and bye.